Welcome everyone to the Radio Toons podcast. How is it going?
It's going so good, dude.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ernie.
How's it going, Ernie?
It's going good, man. It's been a nice week.
You know, I don't know why, but sometimes when we do these, I feel like I haven't talked to you in like 4 years.
It's true, though.
I don't know.
We don't really get to spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
Especially because we just did like the award season, so I've been working like every weekend in January and February. So this is like this last weekend was like my first week to have 2 days off.
Yeah, you know what it is? Because your work always interrupts our like recording schedules. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't record, or like we record late or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a pretty good week.
Some Super Mario 2.
Yeah, and you know what's great too is like this week's gonna end with Devil May Cry 5, and it's
gonna be good.
It's just the cherry on top, the cherry on top of the pizza pie, as they say. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
But this week started off with Sonic, the movie. The assets are leaked. Everyone knows what Sonic looks like now.
Yeah, they do.
And I think people already kind of knew what he was going to look like because of that silhouette that they released, the teaser.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part.
There were signs that it was going to be bad already.
Right.
Like people were saying like, "Oh, the ring sound isn't correct."
Right.
The silhouette's bad.
The shoes are weird.
Yeah, his arms are fuzzy, which they should.
He's completely fuzzy all around.
Yeah, he doesn't have gloves apparently. Gloves.
No gloves, no socks.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've all seen it. But they have a full render of Sonic, in the flesh.
Ugh.
And he's
all furry.
He looks pretty weird. I gotta say.
He looks very weird.
Yeah. I'm pretty disappointed. Not that I had high hopes for the movie, but it's just like.
I don't know how they settled on that look.
I don't know.
He has like this. The front of his head doesn't look like it matches with the hair. Mm-hmm. So like because he's voiced by Ben Schwartz, everybody knows that already. Okay. But like in the last season of Parks and Rec, where Ben Schwartz was guest starring as John Ralphio, he has like this huge spiky head. And they just put side by side pictures of that Sonic with Ben Schwartz. It looks pretty on par.
I don't know. It seems just like one of those things where like there was a bunch of people who don't know shit about Sonic in a room. Mm-hmm. They were having a meeting and they just had to kind of make these decisions, and I don't think anybody really knew what they were talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like
no, they didn't.
Like they were just kind of like, hey, this would be cool. Like hey, like just completely.
Hey, you know what? Nintendo's doing a real life Pokemon movie. We could do a real life Pokemon movie.
I don't know.
But we have Sonic.
I really don't know.
Do you notice that like the fur on Pikachu and the fur on Sonic look like they're made with the same engine almost? Because it's like that sheeny, like the hair has a shine to it.
Actually, I kind of feel like Detective Pikachu at least has kind of like a sense of where the fur should be placed.
Yes. And
like the Sonic movie looks like his hands are straight up fur. Like no animal has fur like all the way around their hands, right? Like
I think monkeys have it on the back of the hand.
Like they all have like a paw thing, or
like
something. Just put gloves on them, like and like people were pointing out that like he wears Nikes in the movie. Nike has shoes that look like Sonic shoes, and
they
like
do.
he did,
but they're not running Nike shoes.
Yeah, I guess so.
They have to be running Nike shoes, Steve. But why isn't he wearing socks? You think he would wear socks, right?
I feel like the fact that he's only wearing shoes is ridiculous. like if he's got gloves and he's got shoes, okay, like you can kind of sell it, right? But like if he's just got shoes on, it's like why? Like
also it brings to mind like when you give Sonic more of a humanoid looking body, like I hate to get real graphic about this, but where are his like genitals?
I know. So like it exploded on Twitter and it's been everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And people were on Twitter were just making like these, like just posting questions like all about like the anatomy of Sonic, and somebody was just like, is his butthole showing the whole time? Like,
right, because the Sonic in the trailer just has like this pointy tail, but the last Sonic has like he has a tail. But it goes out and then like lightning bolts out, I think.
Oh, really?
It does like a lightning bolt effect. Yeah.
I didn't see that. But yeah, I don't know. Like if I were to make any changes to him, it's like just make his body smaller. You know, like he looks too much
because
like
his head is like proportionate to his body, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't look like he looks kind of like a junior high school kid, you know, like, and it's like nobody likes junior high school kids. Like I don't know, like if you're gonna make him look like a cute little baby, then make him look like a cute little baby. Like, but he's just like this weird like I don't. He's just like this weird height. Like
I'm looking at it again because it's just so insane how, like, it just looks like some dude wearing a furry costume.
It's pretty unsettling if I'm being completely honest.
And like they decided to, and because Sonic is has such a like a nice silhouette. Like anytime they do a Sonic Team logo, his eyes are like one big eye, right? Like they meet in the center and everything like that. So anytime they separate the eyes, it looks weird, and he has separated eyes.
I don't know.
It's very strange.
You know, it's like I'm speaking from the heart here, okay? Because I'm a recovering Sonic fan. I used to be a big Sonic fan. I'm not anymore.
Right.
But all I have to say is like because you pointed this out too, his silhouette is great. Sonic as a character to me has always been fucking awesome. Like his character design. I've always felt like his character design is awesome, and like that formula, like how they kind of like used it for like Tails and Knuckles, Amy, and like everybody else.
Right. I
was like, this is great. Like, what a colorful cast of characters is great. It just sucks that like everything that Sonic is in just terrible. Sucks. like the last good game he had was like Sonic Colors. I heard was pretty good, but like. They fucking dropped the ball on so many Sonic related things that like I mean I guess it's no surprise to anybody now that like the movie looks really shitty, but it just kind of sucks. Like
I just don't understand. Like you can if you look at it from a very like business standpoint, you can see why they decided to make all these decisions. Like he wears Nike because we got to sell this whole thing to Nike as a big commercial for your shoes, and like let's make him look more humanoid so that when we make the costume for this, like we sell this costume rights or whatever, it'll look like kids can wear this. And if he looks more like a humanoid, kids will be like, oh, I can look like that. Like if you look at it as a
that's what I'm saying. It's like he kind of looks like a child, which I don't like. Yeah. So I don't know if that's maybe the angle they were going for, but I don't know.
It looks like it because that looks atrocious.
But shit, I was gonna say something and I completely forgot. Whatever.
Moving on.
I'm sure they're gonna sell those shoes, you know, like whatever. They got some big brand going on. No, you know what I was gonna say? Like people were pointing out that like Disney, they have him in Wreck-It Ralph and he looks perfect.
Right.
He like Nintendo has him in Smash Brothers and he looks perfect.
Right.
And like he was in Ready Player One and he looks perfect.
Right.
It's like give the rights to anybody but Paramount, and you would have had a great fucking movie, like, or just a decent looking Sonic, like.
I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why they changed the model so drastically. And was it because they decided that they wanted theirs to be so unique? I guess.
I really don't know. Like, it just really feels like this is like. I don't know. Like, especially like us as artists, we don't like. I could totally understand where, like, the artist is probably going to get shit for designing this guy, but it's, like, he was probably getting told, like, several different things from several different people and whatnot, and, like...
So here's one, like, just from a character design standpoint. And this is something we learned when we took this Art Academy class with Steven Silver, is that when you build a character, one of the good things you can do about to make your character kind of stand out is... you proportion the body with small, medium, and large body parts. So if you make the head large, you want to make like the body small and then the legs medium. Or like you mess with the proportions so there's a variance in it. This Sonic character is like all medium, a medium-sized head, a medium-sized body, and some medium-sized legs. So it's almost like...
that's exactly what I was saying, because it's like a junior high school kid. Like, it's just medium.
But it doesn't look correct. What I'm saying, because like... the great masters, they didn't have models for children. So what they did is they just shrunk down the proportions of a man, and that's where you get like those baby cherubs. That's why they have like, they don't look like children. They look like just smaller adults.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. It's just a smaller adult's proportions on this thing. And I don't even know, in the trailer that I saw, I didn't even see his relative size as to people.
Uh-huh.
So I can't even tell
There's
exactly.
no trailer yet.
No, but the screenshots of him, like, running and then just, like, standing there is like...
Today they posted one screenshot of him running, and it was in some kind of, like, reel with all this other crap that Paramount is selling or something.
Right.
And that's all we have is, like, a glimpse of him running with his hands back.
Right. But like, there's no scale reference.
No,
you know, like on Reddit when they say banana for scale.
There was a poster that got leaked a while back, and it had Chris Pratt in it, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't even know he was in the movie.
He looks kind of cool in that poster, but not in the movie. So I don't. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on here. So just.
Oh, wow. Well, nice try, Paramount.
If you haven't seen what we're talking about, please go check it out.
It's quite atrocious.
Yeah, it warrants some opinions. I'll say that much, because geez, like, yeah, and when they posted that first teaser picture, actually, on their Twitter, they were retweeting all these images and stuff of, like, people making fun of the poster, like trying to, like, oh, we have a sense of humor and all that stuff. It's like, but you guys are just gonna piss people off with this movie. I think like this is not gonna work out for you. But I don't know. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna see it, obviously. So whatever. I mean, I suppose it takes a lot for me to go to the movies nowadays. Captain Marvel comes out on Friday. I'm not gonna go see that.
I think I'm gonna go see that.
That shit is going to be packed, dude.
I know it is.
There's no way I'm getting into that theater. So just.
What if you go early on Saturday morning like you used to?
You know, it's funny because I do say that, but like there have been times where like I just go to the theater right next to my house, and no one's there. Like, I went to go see Spider-Verse by myself. Nobody was there. Like,
telling you.
It's, yeah, I don't know.
And you had your coffee.
Yeah. Oh no, that's right. I went with my friend John actually, and it was fucking empty. But yeah, so that's Sonic the movie. Something else that just dropped recently. I don't know how big a deal it is, but Nintendo's doing VR now.
Oh yeah, you showed me this picture before we started the podcast, and it's essentially they take the Switch and put it in front of your face.
It's Nintendo Labo is what
right,
it is.
But it's like primarily now the Switch screen is in your face with like those special VR goggle type setups. So I'm sure a lot of you have like the VR goggles that you stick your phone in. That like setup with the two kind of bubbly lenses. Yeah, that's gonna be the new setup. It looks like.
I wonder how well it works, because honestly, like, I mean, first of all, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I'm not gonna buy this because it's like Nintendo Labo, and I'm just not like I feel like Nintendo Labo is one of those things where it's like I didn't buy those accessories for the Wii U or the Wii that was like a tennis racket thing, like for
those you didn't really need those though,
or like the zapper or anything. I didn't buy any of that stuff for the Wii, so I feel like I've just kind of grown out of that kind of stuff. If you're a father though with a child that likes Nintendo, sure, like hell yeah, buy this.
Well, I think that's the main aim.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, kids are all over the advertisements for this thing. But yeah, it's like I don't know, it looks maybe like it could be cool. I'm not sure how much enjoyment you can get out of this. I think building it is probably more fun than actually playing the games.
I don't know. Depending on how the games interact with the world, you remember that when VR started to become a thing on Steam. Remember Portal Lab, and all these like really tiny like Wii Sports type of things where it's like, oh look, shoot this bow and arrow at. Yeah. You know, things are coming at you. Just keep shooting your bow and arrow at it. Yeah. I feel like it's just as good as some of that stuff.
You know, if it is half as good at that as that stuff, maybe I will get it then, because I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, is the Oculus Rift still like fucking $900? And he was like, yeah, it's like $600 for like a full kit of Oculus Rift crap.
And you need a room to play it.
You know what he told me? No, he told me go check out the Vive. The Vive is the one that's considered good. Okay. The Vive with all the stuff on it is like $600. Damn. And I'm just like, for what? Like, so like this is made for rich YouTubers that have like a spare room in their fucking millionaire house.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you need like to actually play that shit, you need a whole room, because you need to set up like these like parameter things that stick up. You know, like for people who have like those really sick sound systems.
Yeah.
Little stands with speaker. That's essentially what you're setting up around your room. And it has to be somewhat clear so you don't run into anything. It seems like such a bother. I
feel like who's going to use this shit after like the first week, you know?
It takes so long to set up.
And it's like $600, dude. It's just like never in my life would I pay that much for that.
And have you heard like a killer game that you need to play on the VR system?
No, exactly.
It's all like toys and...
it's Skyrim. They have Skyrim, and they have a racing game, and they have that game with the lightsabers.
Okay.
It's like Did you see that one?
No.
You have to like little squares are coming at you, and you have to cut them either horizontally.
Oh,
or
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dance Dance Revolution.
I guess, but it's just like
it seems
where like a while back, like when this first got released, people were like, "This is the fucking future, dude," and I'm not seeing the future. I mean, I just maybe when it becomes a little more accessible to everyone, like even like developers and stuff, because as of right now, I heard like. Since the games have to run 60 frames, a lot of the graphics are not very good. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm sure that deals with... I'm sure that fucking breaks the immersion to some extent, because it's
it would have to, because, like...
Because people are used to graphics now,
like... because all I'm seeing VR do is essentially just... You just need a very high-definition screen and some motion controls, right? And I feel like I popped my... I bought, like, this... $5 VR housing for my phone. And like I was like, oh look, I'm on a roller coaster, or look, I can shoot things if I push this button on the side of the thing. I feel like that's as far as anybody's gotten. They've finessed it a little more, but I feel like that's as far as we've gotten.
I saw one game that looked interesting, and I forget what it was called, but you were like a tiny person, and you were in a house.
Okay.
And it looks really cool just because of like the scale of everything. But it's like it has that problem that every VR game has, where like moving is a chore. Like if you're not moving, like you can't just walk forward. It's always like, oh,
lean.
Throw this ball and you teleport over there, or throw this ball this way. You tell it. They always either have teleporting or like some stupid shit. So
or you have to use a joystick.
Yeah, it's like at that point, I don't know.
Or you're just standing still and everything comes at you.
I could see VR being used as like a tool for shit. Like if I could put on a VR headset and like draw.
They have those programs.
Yeah, like that seems pretty cool actually.
You can like draw in 3D and stuff. I've seen that kind of thing before. There is a program that does that.
But I just want to lay in my bed and do it. I don't want to be standing up like fucking.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Waving my hands around like some kind of magician, you know.
Like I remember when when VR was kind of like this new thing. I remember all these developers trying to come up with like this treadmill that lets you walk in 360 degrees. So it's like no matter which way you started walking, the game would feed back and move you that way. And one of them was like literally this thing called the Omnipad that you could move, and they were like, look, I'm in Skyrim and I'm moving around, like just really walking. And I was like, that fucking sucks, because like I would have to walk my ass for reals. That doesn't sound like fun. And then there was this other one that, if you can imagine like a really like a bowl, and you wear these shoes that will slide down, and this harness that holds you, and it was like walk wherever you want, and it's like this little Omni track that's a little tiny. It was like, who's gonna put that in their house to play a VR fucking game? And still I'm walking. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Believe it or not, when I play Skyrim, the aspect that draws me to it is not the walking. It's actually the sorcery and stuff that I want that stuff to be real, not the walking. There's actually an auto walk key in Skyrim, so I don't think they were really selling that point.
You know what would really be great, but it's such a niche market, is like a Dungeons and Dragons type thing. Where you could like level build and then have everybody wear these masks that project the story as it's happening to you.
Yeah, you know, because I've seen cool shit like that where like people use like their phone or something to do like augmented reality. That would be great. Or like I don't know, like I've seen cool shit like that. But I will say that D&D is not a niche market anymore. I mean, kind of, but
it still is.
It's probably the most popular it's ever been right now, because of
people are like, you want to play some D&D? He's like, I love D&D.
I don't know what Critical Role is, but isn't that a D&D podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
but it's hosted by Felicia Day's Geek and Sundry thing.
Yeah, and it's I think Matt Mercer's on it, the voice of McCree.
Yes.
Because he always like retweets it or promotes it or
something.
something.
No, I think he's on it for a campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And those last a few episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they go through like a little campaign on it, so it's good.
That sounds cool. I've just never been able to get into
Will
D&D.
Wheaton just hosts it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of his, but okay.
Well, I believe that's
from Star Trek, right?
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Here. But yeah, it's I don't know. If maybe the VR was a little less. I heard the PlayStation VR is not fantastic. It's like, why did you get this?
You know what's funny? Our nephew owns that.
Uh-huh.
He played it like twice, and it's just sitting
Done.
in his room.
Yeah. I know.
And it's like, I was like, dude, it was like $400. It was like $300 something. I think he got it cheap somehow.
Yeah.
But I was like, to a fucking teenager, that's like $1 million, dude. I can't believe this kid spent all that and just didn't.
And the breakout game for that was like Resident Evil. The one.
Oh,
that was like...
yeah, I heard Resident Evil 7 was really good in VR,
right.
And it looked pretty good for a VR game too, like graphically.
But again, nobody wants to wear that thing and look around.
Yeah, he was telling me he's like, yeah, we played Rick and Morty, and I was like, that's cool, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Rick and Morty.
Like I'm not paying $300 something to play Rick and Morty.
But it's of the options, that seems like it's the easiest one.
Yeah, I don't know. They all all the games seem really underwhelming. So I don't know.
No VR for us.
Yeah, if they come out with something real cool in a couple of years, sure, why not? But yeah. Anyway, have you been watching anything already? Did you watch any movies?
You mean the one that you told me to watch? Because you're like, dude, are you a fan of Quentin Tarantino?
Oh yeah, I did. I watched you watch two
am.
movies then. Yeah.
I was like, I am a fan of Quentin Tarantino. I don't always like the movies he makes, but I'm a pretty big fan, I would say.
What'd you watch?
It's called The Hateful Eight.
Ooh, not the Grateful Eight?
No.
Not the Eightful Hate?
No, not the Eightful Hate.
Okay.
No.
What'd you think?
So I have mixed feelings about this movie, only because I feel like he borrowed a lot of elements from his previous movies.
Okay.
So it's like the chapter thing where it's just like chapter 1, the strangers meet or whatever. And I was like, well, that's a Kill Bill thing. And then it's like,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just saw Pulp Fiction, and that has it too.
There you go.
Not just that, he uses the same font.
Yep.
For everyone.
He really likes it.
Yeah.
And I love westerns. Absolutely love westerns.
That's why I watched it.
I love costume design in westerns and all this kind of stuff. But and I don't mean to spoil Reservoir Dogs, but it feels like it uses the same formula as Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like there's a betrayer in the midst of something, and it's like in this one there's an element of that.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
And I don't know, it feels like a recycled idea.
Okay.
You know.
Fair enough.
But there's great things about it, like Samuel L. Jackson's performance in it is electrifying. He is so good in this.
You know what I was gonna say? Not to counter your point, but to basically kind of enforce what you're saying is that Quentin Tarantino's movies don't always have the best premises. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say Kill Bill is super original anyway, but it's the execution that really helps it out, you know? Mm-hmm. Because I think this movie was masterfully done, if I do say so myself. I thought it was really great. The first maybe 20 minutes were a little bit they kind of dragged on, but that's probably because I was on my phone. Mm-hmm. But
of course you were.
Yeah, but the storytelling I think is really great, and just when they get to this cabin, and Samuel L. Jackson just starts figuring stuff out.
Right.
It actually, honestly, I don't know why this happens, but anytime I'm watching a movie, I just turn my brain off, and the characters that kind of turn or betray him or whatever, I was like, man, I did not expect that. I thought
I was they're all gonna be good friends.
Yeah, I was like, man, I thought these guys were cool, and they're not. And Samuel Jackson's figuring all this out, and I'm just feel like an idiot now. But yeah, so if you've seen The Hateful Eight, let me summarize it for you real quick, even though you don't need it. Samuel Jackson is out in the snow, and he hitches a ride on a wagon with Kurt Russell, mm-hmm. who's on his way to hang this lady who's a criminal. They have to stop at a cabin, mm-hmm. to rest because there's a blizzard out.
Right.
And while they're in that cabin, which is basically where the whole movie takes place.
Right.
They figure out that there's some people here who claim to be the owners of that establishment who are not the owners of that establishment.
Right.
And there's something fishy amidst the tides in that cabin.
Right.
So, lo and behold, guns are fired and stuff. But I was gonna say, the tension in this movie is really good.
Oh yes, it's very good.
And I feel like when shots are actually fired, they mean something in this movie.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, there's gonna be guns everywhere, right? Because like some of the trailers showed off like guns.
Right.
There's really not. Like there is, but like when they're shot, they're very they have a purpose. They're not just they're kind of like the lightsabers in the first Star Wars movies. They have a purpose.
Right.
They're not like Clone Wars, like where they're just everywhere.
Everybody's pulling them out.
Yeah. But fuck, like you said, Samuel L. Jackson, man. I love his costume design in this movie. Mm-hmm. His like yellow like jacket lining with the bright red tie. It's just like fuck, it's so good. You know what I've noticed about a lot of like critically acclaimed like directors and stuff. Mm-hmm. Their movies always look beautiful, color wise. Like whoever does like the color, like what is it called? Like color like adjustment, like color grading, or I don't know what it's called.
Well, for a lot of films, it's called their color theory script.
Yeah, I don't know if it's done in post or if it's actually like it doesn't look like it's natural a lot of the time. It looks like it's done like on purpose.
Well, they probably up the saturation a bit when they're shooting it.
Like a perfect example is like not just Samuel L. Jackson's wardrobe, but like the coffee kettle is like this bright blue,
right?
But it still looks like it's part of the scene. Mm-hmm. But it also looks like it's like it catches your eye, especially
it's important.
Yeah, like especially like in certain scenes where they kind of like frame it as such. So it's just like I love looking at that stuff. It's just like it's so appealing to the eye, like having nice colors on screen. Buster Scruggs did that too. Buster Scruggs has really good like.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, I did, and it's crazy too because like Buster Scruggs and this movie are both like westerns,
right?
And I feel like in your head when you hear western, you hear brown, like you it's like brown, right?
Right.
No, this movie has a whole spectrum of colors, and it's.
I've seen some of it, and it's because it's the Coen Brothers.
That's what I mean.
It's very strange. One thing to say about the costumes in this is that because Samuel L. Jackson is I think you'd agree that Samuel L. Jackson is probably the primary character in this whole thing because he's the first one you see in the movie, and he takes you all the way through to like the end of it. But it's great that he picked Samuel L. Jackson, and it's great that he went with this time and place because it's after the war. It's after the Civil War,
right?
And so the tensions and race tensions are very much a part of this movie.
Yeah, I feel like Quentin Tarantino loves the N-word because he seems to work it in every script that he has somehow, including Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, so. I mean, yeah, it seems to be because like this whole movie is called Hateful Eight, and they all have a reason to hate each other. If it's not race, it's because like one of them's a despicable person, one of them has a despicable job. Like they all seem to have a reason.
That story that he tells to bait that guy into shooting him,
I don't think it happened.
I don't either, because he says at the beginning that he's a liar.
Well, no, he says I know what to tell people to get them to react.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah, he says that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like. I don't know. That's kind of what I like about his character is that like he's not always like just shooting.
Right.
He's got like a psychological side to him that helps him get out of stuff. Like the whole reason he got on the wagon was because he supposedly had a letter from Abraham Lincoln that said like they're pen pals and whatnot.
I'll tell you one thing about this that really solidifies Samuel L. Jackson is they had a lot of the guy that does the cinematography, whether it be Quentin Tarantino or like one of his aides, it does a great job because first of all, I think that cabin was that cold.
Okay.
Because their breath, you could see their breath throughout the whole thing unless they were drinking coffee or something like that.
I love that, dude. It's like this kind of like You know, a movie's good when they really like sell that illusion to you,
right?
Because I'm watching this movie kind of like I want to live back then, even though I know like
it's shit
dysentery, right? Like, but like
not to mention like in the very beginning they were like, hey, we're gonna draw a line to the like, and when they say draw a line, essentially that means like they put these metal posts in the floor with a rope so you could go to the bathroom and then go to the stables. Like they had to make a line or else you could get lost in the snow.
Yeah.
Like, that's how terrible it was.
Yeah, but that kind of, like the sound design, too, like, getting to hear them do everything, and it's just, like, this, how do I say, like, it's almost like how a rock with, like, these rugged edges is more interesting than, like, a smooth rock.
Right.
Everything in Westerns is just so, like, rugged.
It has teeth.
It has, like, these interesting edges to it, you know, like, every part, especially in the cabin itself. Mm-hmm. It's like everything has a story to it, you know. Mm-hmm. Everything is put there for a certain reason because back then they used everything. It's not like
also like the word you're looking for is grit. I know that's kind of but what I was mentioning before about like the way it looks, there's this great scene where I think Samuel L. Jackson's getting his coffee and he's putting together that something's been happening in this haberdashery, which is where they stop. It's called Minnie's Haberdashery, and like he sees these like little clues as to something's not going right. And so when he's putting it all together, he steps into like the center of the room where there's a light. I don't know where the light is coming from or anything, but like there's snow falling on either side of him, like from like just being let into the cabin. And when he's drinking his coffee, all the steam from it is like gathering underneath his hat and it like plumes up over it. And he looks so interesting, and that's a perfect shot for the entire movie. Is like he's hidden behind this scarf, and he's just pulling it down just so he can drink his coffee. It looks intense. Yeah, it's great.
It's really great. I thought you were going to mention though, actually, that there is a scene where he gets his coffee and he notices that there's like a piece of candy stuck.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's like it's like stuck in the floorboard, and that to him is kind of like a red flag. Like, why is there candy on the floor?
Right. Well, actually, he looks at the floor and there's a jelly bean. And then he looks at the candy dishes, and one's missing.
Yeah, and there is no jelly bean jar up there.
And there is no jelly bean jar with red jelly beans. And he's like, something's amiss. Something's going on.
Which is so cool because I didn't understand what he was putting together in his mind. I'm sure a smarter person would have. But like I said, I just turn off my brain, and I'm just like, what is he doing? What's this guy doing?
He knows something's wrong because, for one thing, when they get there, he knows something's off because when he goes and helps the dude like put away the horses, he volunteers for that. Yeah. Because the guy's like, "Hey, let me help you put away the horses," and he's like, "No, dude, go ahead, go in." He's like, "You're in the middle of a blizzard, and you don't want help putting away the horses so we can get inside. That's strange." And he's like, "Oh, you're right. Go ahead and help me." And so with that, he's already like, something's weird.
He was calling his bluff since the beginning.
Yeah,
like this guy.
But what's great about Samuel L. Jackson's character is he takes his time and he picks his spots because he's like, "Are you calling me a liar?" It's like, "No, I'm just saying it's peculiar." And he's being cordial. You know what I mean? Like he's like, "I ain't calling you a liar. I'm just saying it's very peculiar that
he's being
1, 2, 3." He's
being neutral until he knows when he has to pick a side.
Exactly.
Basically.
And by the way, his dispatch of the general, it's fucking brilliant.
What do you mean?
So
you mean like the little story he tells?
Well, yeah, but not just that. It's the when they get into the cabin, because Samuel L. Jackson is black, and there's a general from the South there in the cabin.
Yeah, who's like
immediately
really
there's tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
And like Steven said, there's a lot of N-words dropped in this.
Oh yeah, so if you're uncomfortable with that, you probably shouldn't watch the movie.
They say it a lot.
It's also a lot more violent than I thought it would be. And I know that sounds stupid, you know, because, like,
Quentin Tarantino.
What should I expect, right? But honestly, like, the first, like, a good amount of the movie is non-violent. And then all of a sudden it kind of just becomes
It explodes.
Yeah. So I was just definitely, like, not prepared for that. And you said the movie kind of made you uncomfortable, and I wanted to hear why.
Okay, so, and this is a trope that's, like, pretty true with all of Quentin Tarantino's movies, is, like, the amount of tension that they bring into the movie is like palpable. You can see it. Like you can almost cut the tension with a knife. You know, and that's what made me like so anxious and be like, "Oh my god, how are they gonna get out of this one? Oh boy!" And there's a lot of those scenes because they get injured and they're trying to hold on for dear life, and like the characters, you don't know what's happening, and then they reveal that, oh wait, we're all in cahoots, or we're this guy or we're this guy, and you don't know what's what because you don't know who to believe.
Yeah, not just that too, but like I feel like when I'm watching this movie, it's like I really don't know who the good guy is, and anyone could die. So the people that I'm rooting for aren't necessarily the good guys. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, totally.
That's why the whole time I felt like, man, like I'm rooting for Samuel L. Jackson, but he could die at any moment because it feels like they're all pretty disposable. Mm-hmm. They're all pretty hateful, as they say. Right. They don't really. They're all not. They don't have clean consciences, basically. You know what I'm saying? So like, but yeah, it was like, I mean, like I guess you could say the sheriff was kind of like the clean person, but even he had like kind of like these grimy intentions, and as soon as he got a gun in his hand, he was like, now wait just a second, like, now I got the
big
power.
Shot.
Yeah, let's see it.
And same thing, like he was also pretty racist. If you like the first part of it, he was pretty like still bitter about the war.
Yeah, because he was all fanboying over that fucking guy, that general guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end, like he Samuel Jackson's like, hand me the pistol, and he's just like, now wait just a minute.
Wait now.
Yeah, he's like, I got this pistol here, and you got nothing. So,
also, I don't know if Steven mentioned it, but the person that he's bringing to Red Rock, which is their ultimate destiny, or destination, sorry, it's a woman.
Yeah.
Her name is Jane or something like that.
I forgot what her name is.
But
she's part of the 8.
Yeah, she's part of the 8. But like, Kurt Russell is a guy named John Ruth, and like they have this back and forth. He's like, why don't you just kill her and bring her in that way? Because that's how Samuel L. Jackson's bringing in his guys. They're all dead.
Yeah.
And you get the bounty, dead or alive. And he's like, I just like to see him hang. And so he's got this woman handcuffed to him, and he's beating the crap out of her all the time.
Yeah.
Like this one time she speaks out of turn, so he busts her face with his elbow, and he busts her face. Like she goes like, oh, and then like as soon as she pulls her hand apart, like there's just blood exploded from her nose. She has a black eye. Like he's punched her in the head, and like it's uncomfortable to watch, to be honest.
It is. So full spoilers, if we haven't spoiled enough already, full spoilers for the Hateful Eight from this point on. But so John Ruth gets poisoned with a cup of coffee.
Right.
And actually, I forget who they say poisoned the coffee at the end. I completely
Joe Gage.
It was him?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know he admits to it, but I was kind of like, is he just taking the blame?
No, it was by process of elimination. You know it's him because Bob was playing the piano, and then
the other guy was going to take a drink. He was going to drink it.
No. The hangman, the guy who, I forget what his actual name is, but he's sitting within view of the general. And then it wasn't the sheriff because he almost drank the thing. And the person who did the pouring had gloves on. And the only person with gloves on was Joe Gage.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I thought they all had. Well, okay, whatever.
No. At the time, only Joe had his gloves on and wasn't in the sight of anybody.
Okay, all right. But yeah, so John, what's his name? John Ruth?
John Ruth, yeah.
He drinks the coffee and proceeds to vomit blood for like fucking good 8 minutes or something. Mm-hmm. I'm exaggerating. And then he like
beats her face.
Yeah, and he like throws up like on her face, and I was like, "This is so fucking disgusting." Like
he beats her face so much that she loses her front teeth.
Yeah, doesn't somebody else drink the coffee?
Yeah, OB.
Okay, that's the other guy. Yeah,
OB was the driver that was bringing. Like the movie starts with them like in a stagecoach.
Yeah,
and he's the driver.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so like another person that's like unaccounted for.
And then right before the sheriff gets a cup of coffee too, and right before he drinks it, John Ruth tells him, "Don't drink the coffee, it's poisoned." And then he proceeds to throw up, and he's like,
"Does he actually say that?"
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember I noticed like when he starts choking, I was like, "How is he? How?" I was wondering in my head like, "How is he gonna get it to cross to the guy before, he drinks it or whatever?" Mm-hmm. And he looks at the cup, like he's like gonna die or whatever, but he the first thing he does is he looks at the cup, and the sheriff sees him do that, And that's how he's just like, oh shit, and he like spills it out on the floor.
No, he says the coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he throws it.
Okay, yeah.
And then he proceeds to beat her until he dies himself.
Right, and then she's just chained to this dead body, which is
right. And right before she's trying to get like the key to get out, Samuel L. Jackson shows up and he's like, "Give me the key."
Yeah, he throws it in the furnace.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny though. Like, or I shouldn't say funny. It's just clever that like, so the guy dies, right? Mm-hmm. And she's just chained to this dead body in the center of the room, like for the rest
covered in blood.
Yeah, for the rest of the film, and it was just so like, I don't know. Like me personally, there's certain movies that like when I know they're taking place in one room, I get kind of like they're gonna be here this whole movie, and this movie's like 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, it's a good amount.
It's pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
But man, did they make that room fucking interesting. Like, that honestly just added to it. The fact that they were, like, confined to this room the whole time. Like,
I'll tell you why you thought it was interesting. Mm-hmm. Because as they continued to be in that room for those couple of hours, new discoveries were made about the room. Yeah. So, for one, like, you discover in the movie that the 4 men that are there at the haberdashery are part of a gang that are trying to free this lady. Right. So, the Mexican guy, his name's Senor Bob. The hangman, which is supposedly the hangman that's supposed to be in Red Rock.
It's like the executioner.
Right. Joe Gage, which is supposedly he's just a farmer.
Yeah, he's going to see his mom or something.
Right. And then Channing Tatum actually shows up later on. Mm-hmm. But those are the 4 people who are trying to rescue her because the guy, his name's Jody. Channing Tatum's character's named Jody. Jody is trying to free his sister. Mm-hmm. So, like, you find out more and more about this place, the more that their identities are kind of revealed. And it's like, it's crazy because the person who knows the most about the place is the one who's the most suspicious because Samuel L. Jackson knows the people there. Yeah. The 2 people who own this haberdashery are known as Minnie and Sweet Dave. Yeah. And his knowledge of it brings us all to, like, understand that something is not right with this place.
You know what, too? I feel like as soon as a person died, the entire I don't know if it was some kind of cinematography trick, but I did feel like the whole vibe of the room changed. It was almost like it was a different room every time somebody died. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like you were saying how like they kind of like unlock different parts of this room because at one point they learned that there's like a basement too, and like they learn like Samuel Jackson goes to a bed, which you don't really see throughout the entire.
No, you see it.
You see it when he needs it, though.
I know you haven't seen it in a week, so it's just fresh in my mind. That's why I can tell you. But like the first when John Ruth gets there, one of the things he says is like, "There's something not right about this place," because he's talking to Samuel L. Jackson. He says something not right about this place. So I'm going to take everybody's gun that I don't trust. And he goes over to Joe Gage, who's played by Michael Madison. I believe that's his name.
Oh, is he in a bed?
He's sitting on the bed.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what it is actually? I just figured it out.
Here we go. Here's the big reveal, guys.
Every time somebody dies, they become part of the room.
Yeah.
Because
I know what you mean.
Because like John Ruth dies, and now the center of the room is occupied by his dead body. And what's her face? Yeah. And then it's like those 3 guys up against the wall, they die up against the wall. So now they're part of that side of the room, and like the chair that what's his face dies in, it's like now that's his
Dave's chair.
Yeah, or like I don't know. It just
see they become. I wouldn't say they just become fixtures in the room because now the room is separated into the middle of the room. There's Jody. The 3 guys are up against the wall. And then it's him and the sheriff kind of understanding what's happening. And then you find out Jody's in the basement. Yeah. And yeah, it's crazy as the whole thing plays out.
His head, I just wanted to say, Jody's head gets blown off as soon as he exits the basement.
So dope.
And I thought that was so fucking ridiculous. And it was one of those things too where like they kind of build it up so that you saw it coming. Like
a little bit, only because like if you've seen plenty of Quentin Tarantino films, the one thing he really likes to do is to build up somebody and then take them out very quickly. Okay. Because it's almost like what is it like? This person is going to be important to you. Just watch. Like they start building up the mystique of this person, and then boom, they're gone. Just like if you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, The very first part, John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson are pulling this guy out of this apartment.
Yeah.
And then they're talking to him kind of casually, and they're like, "Hey, we're actually friends." Blah blah blah. And then accidentally he shoots him in the head.
Phil Lamar.
Yeah, Phil Lamar, and his head gets blown apart. And you're just like, "Whoa, what the heck?" And it changes the course of the movie.
Yeah, that movie holds up, by the way, because I saw it recently, and when I was a kid, I had seen it with scenes omitted from it because it's obviously a very violent movie,
right?
But funnily enough, I saw all the violence. The only parts that were kind of centered for me were they didn't let me see the scene where what's his face was getting raped. What's his name? Wallace.
Wallace, yeah.
I forget his first name. But yeah, that movie too has that same kind of it goes without saying, but it's something that I did like about this movie too. It's kind of I don't want to say it's raunchy, because that feels like the wrong word.
The Hateful Eight?
Both those movies. I don't want to say raunchy because it seems like not a good word to use. But in the Hateful Eight, he tells a story about this guy sucking his dick.
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
And then he gets shot in the nuts.
Right.
And to me it kind of feels like this. You know how westerns still somehow look beautiful,
right?
Even though they're supposed to represent a time where things were not very beautiful, right?
Right.
I feel like those scenes where he's got the guy completely nude sucking his dick or whatever, or him getting his nut shot off, are kind of Quentin Tarantino's way of saying this is still the Wild West. These are still savage men out here. It looks like the movie's beautiful, but he's not gonna let Hollywood censor him, basically, and he's not gonna let him censor what he believes to be the Wild West, or even in Pulp Fiction, with fucking Wallace,
right.
He was just there's sick people out there. You're telling me there's not people out there that own a pawn shop that want to fuck dudes or something?
Yeah, I think the word you're looking for is when people think about Westerns, there's a sense of romanticizing the Old West.
Yeah.
It was more... the Old West was more noble than it actually was.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
getting
at.
And what he's trying to say is, no, it's a bunch of fucking...
It's savages.
Hateful, terrible people living in the West. Because two of the people that are supposedly, quote-unquote, the heroes, bounty hunters, who have a very, very dark past. And even the sheriff... And he's dude, the sheriff's a racist. Yeah. And he hates this guy he's sitting next to and all that kind of stuff. It's his way of saying that even all these people have a huge dark side. The West is just terrible.
Yeah. You know what's funny too is you said that the sheriff is racist. The woman who owns that place, Minnie, is black. Right. But she doesn't like Mexicans. So it's there's no winning. Everybody's racist.
Everybody's racist against somebody.
Because what does Samuel Jackson say? He says Minnie said no hats and no dogs and no Mexicans.
Yeah. And she took down that sign no more than a year ago.
She wanted
Guess why?
Because she wanted a dog.
He leans into the Mexican guy's face. He's start letting dogs in. So when you tell me...
Yeah, oh my God. His delivery...
Minnie is leaving her bar to a Mexican, then yeah.
His delivery on everything is just so fucking good.
It's really great. Samuel L. Jackson has two settings I feel like he does really well. The first one is being the loudest, crassest person in the world. Or a very controlled, enraged person. Those are like his two best things.
I was actually surprised he played this part so damn well, because I had just seen him in Pulp Fiction where he was kind of like I wouldn't really call him a loose cannon.
No, but he's loud and he's boastful and he's like, he plays to his extremes, I think.
Yeah, but in both movies, I feel like he plays a character that's very like methodical and like wise, even though what he's doing is not very like.
Well, yeah, I don't know if he's wise in this one more as he's just clever, and he's able to. His intelligence is definitely up there because he's able to put together that something's amiss. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. Well, maybe not so much in Pulp Fiction though. Maybe he's not so wise in that one, but
no, he's not.
He does. He definitely like. I mean, okay, spoilers if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction, but like
ruining all sorts of movies.
He definitely gets out, before a significant thing happens.
Right.
And they even use water to make that transition. Like they have to get naked and wash themselves off with the hose, right? Because they got blood all over them. And after that scene, he's just like, I've seen the light. Like in the traditional trope of like water being like this kind of way of like baptizing your soul or something. But yeah, I think the Hateful Eight was fucking great. It actually had really cool music too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it won any awards for music, but it was actually like that kind of like, it was like the kind of movie that had music you can't really ignore. Like I was actually like, oh shit, I'm digging this tune. I was like,
and it's Silent Night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way, you told me something kind of crazy about at one point, the prisoner, she plays the guitar.
Yeah.
And then when John Ruth gets pissed at her, he smashes it.
Yeah.
What did you say about the guitar?
I don't know. What did I say?
I thought you said something about it being like a really antique guitar, and he like when he smashes it, like it was a really antique guitar that they bought for that scene.
Oh, really?
And when he smashed it, I don't know if that was like ad-libbed or whatever, but he was like, "Yeah, just smash it." It's crazy.
Oh,
I think it's something I heard, but like I don't know if it was you that told me or somebody else.
No, maybe I don't know. Maybe that's true. I don't remember that, but I
mean, overall, you would recommend the movie?
Oh hell yeah, dude! I thought it was great. It's a little lengthy.
Yeah, it's definitely lengthy.
But I feel like it's kind of like Pulp Fiction, where it's almost broken up in a way that you could watch it in segments if you wanted to. Like it kind of feels like it feels like a mini series, like 3 good episodes of like a show. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt about it, at least.
So it actually was. So I'm reading a couple of articles, and they say priceless Martin guitar destroyed by Hateful Eight, and apparently it was a real 1870s Martin guitar.
Oh shit!
It's an antique. And reports say that Russell goofed in a scene in which he smashed it.
Like he wasn't supposed to smash it?
No, it's so they do it all the time. They have 2 versions of a guitar.
Uh-huh.
And so he was supposed to wait to get the double, and he did it. So he smashed a real guitar. So that's a real tragedy.
Oh wow, that sucks. That's pretty.
A little fun fact for everybody.
Yeah, thank you for that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
He done goofed. That's like a triple. I would say like almost 7-figure guitar, I believe.
Wow. I mean, I would assume it's from the fucking Wild West. Mm-hmm. And that scene where she's playing the guitar is pretty cool too. I love it. It's like they always got to have those in westerns. It's like somebody somberly playing the guitar with the little.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
That's why I thought the Silent Night thing was it was an interesting choice.
It was. And what was cool about that scene too was how he brought it up later. Like he's like, "Hey, hombre, you saying I poisoned the coffee? Well, I was playing the piano the whole time." Like, yeah. And it's like that because you heard it the whole time. Mm-hmm. Because like other movies might do this thing where it's like if he's playing the piano, it might stop, just so that you could hear what they're saying.
Right.
But it's like they purposely kept it in so that you could hear it the whole fucking time.
Which was funny because that was accompanying the story of Samuel Jackson's his little story about the general's son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was again a weird pairing, but somehow it worked together.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a really interesting movie, and I feel like if you watch it again too, I
can't. I won't be able to go to sleep. It gave me such anxiety. Yeah,
there's just to tell you how the movie ends because we're spoiling everything. But like they end up choking. They end up hanging. They end up hanging Jane, the woman. Like they're both working in tandem to pull this rope and pull it over like a ceiling column.
Yeah.
And trying to a support beam, I should say, and they're tying it onto the bedpost and making it choke her and kill her. And the way that she's just she's dying slowly. Sorry, it's just so it made me so fucking uncomfortable. I was honestly
and they're both laughing.
Yeah, I was.
Which I thought is this is how crazy. Because here's the thing, it's a very somber irony. Mm-hmm. Because in the beginning of the movie, there's a whole conversation about why John brings his bounties in alive.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't like to cheat the hangman. and then they start having a conversation of later on. They start having a conversation about what justice is, and he's like, you have to have justice, and like that's what makes us like justice is justice if the person hanging the person is impartial. Mm-hmm. That's why they need a hangman, because if you get hung, if you get dragged out by the person who you wronged and hung up, that's frontier justice.
Oh, right? That's right. That's what they were saying.
But if somebody comes along and is able to deliver that, like pull and hang you without any biased, that's true justice. Mm-hmm. And at the end, when they're hanging her, they're both laughing their asses off. Yeah. And even at the end, because she's kicking her legs out and everything, he's like, that was a nice dance.
Yeah.
And they see her die, it's like, wow, they weren't kidding. It's just frontier justice everywhere.
Yeah. I assume Samuel L. Jackson dies after that, though.
Well, you don't really know.
You don't.
And the ambiguity of the entire movie is very, like, it's pungent because you don't know what's what.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at, was that, like, they're hanging this woman, and I'm in the back of my head, I'm still like, maybe there is a gang of people that are gonna come kill them, because I'm not sure that these guys are even considered good guys, or mm-hmm. like, or in the sense of the movie where they have to have like a kind of good guy person. Mm-hmm. I really didn't know who it was, but he says like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it, and so I just took that as like, oh, maybe he's well, he says that.
But you don't know because you don't see the rest of the movie. But like, the reason I say that there's really no telling is like his letter, it turns out to be fake. His story, I don't even believe is real, because he always says like, I just tell people what they need to hear to feel safe. Mm-hmm. And once they feel safe, they're disarmed. Right. So I don't know if he was just telling him, hey, we're both gonna die, to maybe get him to do what he needed him to do so that he could escape later.
I wonder why he killed that general too. Did he just hate him because he was racist? Or
no, because he probably thought that the general would kill him later on.
Oh, okay.
And remember, the general was like, the general was already like, I should have killed you on the battlefield, because they met on the battlefield.
Maybe he was just like, this guy's too quiet, because they told him to just sit there and do nothing.
Right.
And he probably wanted to disrupt anything that they were doing. I don't know. But like I said, that's another reason to go watch the movie again, you know?
Yeah. I mean, all that we've said here is that, yeah, there is spoilers for the movie, but to be honest, if you watch it even with all this knowledge, I think you're going to get a big kick out of it.
Yeah. So Ernie watched Wreck-It Ralph too, but we're out of time. We ended up spending the whole fucking hour talking about the Hateful Eight. Which is just another fucking reason to watch the movie. But yeah, so we are the Radio Toons Podcast. You can find us on SoundCloud, Radio Toons Podcast, iTunes, Radio Toons Podcast. Twitter, I'm at Soho Shuffle. I'm
at Neo Ernie.
Yeah, so that does it for this week, guys, unless you have anything else to say, Ernie.
Just a little thing. Mm-hmm. I've been doing a lot of podcasts because my commute's gotten really long. The Ron Burgundy podcast. Yeah. You've probably been hearing a lot about it. It's pretty funny. I would give it a listen.
Ron Burgundy?
Yeah, like Will Ferrell plays Ron Burgundy trying to do a podcast.
Oh, really?
And trying to do a podcast is exactly what this whole thing is. So he's like, what's popular right now? True crime podcast. All right, let's give that a shot.
Really?
Yeah, it's hilarious to listen to it, because he starts off the first podcast and he says things like, I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. I don't know what a podcast is.
Okay.
Let's take a caller. And then his co-host goes like, Ron, it's not a call-in show because people aren't listening to this in real time. Oh, okay. Check.
Are they making like a third Anchorman or something? Or
no, it's just like he's doing a podcast as that character. So
it's gotta be some kind of movie tie-in or something. I don't know.
It's Funny or Die.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. I'm glad he has the rights to his character. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with it.
Right now, as of this recording, there's 4 episodes, and the 5th one's about to come out. And they've all been fucking hilarious.
All right, I'll check them out. Yeah, that sounds funny. But yeah, if there's nothing else, that does it for this week, guys. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.